Welcome back. This is number 7 out of a series of 9 demos. In this segment we will look at PowerMap. This demonstration creates a simple PowerMap tour consisting of 2 different PowerMaps. Before the tour is created, the PowerPivot data model needs to be prepared in order to allow this tour to be successfully configured. So unfortunately, PowerMap does not work with hierarchies. So what we need to do is save this workbook as a different version. We are going to call it AW Sales Analysis PowerMap. So once we have done that, we look for PowerPivot and we're going to switch to that window here. We're going to look for the product table and we're going to have to reset some items that we did previously. So we are going to unhide product category, subcategory and category. We're going to unhide those. Then we're going to go to the reseller table and unhide city, state and country. So when we have our state column, we're going to go to the advanced ribbon. In the data category column, we're going to change that so that it reads state or province. City and country, if you look at these, you can see they've been automatically suggested, and city was automatically suggested as well. However, state was not, so we had to manually configure that one. So what we're going to do now is select the dates table and we're going to unhide the date column. Once we've done that, we're going to save our information again. So the data module has changed because obviously we've hidden a lot of items, and so it's asking if we finished editing the data model, we want to apply those in PowerView. Yes, we do. It won't make any changes here since we're making these changes for PowerView, but at least we know that the Excel worksheet is now up to date. So what we want to do now is insert a PowerMap. To do that, we go to Insert and we look for Map. And what we want to do now is launch PowerMap. Then we'll start to see the PowerMap window and we'll see that the tour editor appears on the left hand side. We have a first scene here which has been added. We're going to replace the tour name with something more descriptive, which is going to be US sales. And we're going to select this first scene. In the task panel at the right hand side, what we need to do is some configuration work so that PowerMap recognises the data as being geographical. So what we want to do, our information is contained in the reseller table, and what we want to do with reseller is click on state. And what we see here is it's been recognised by state and province because we already set that in PowerPivot. So now we're going to click Next. That's us set our geography and map level. We can start to see points in the map. They represent states that have been geocoded by Bing Maps. So now what we want to do is configure the layer layout. So from the sales table, what we want to do is select sales. That's going to represent the height, representing proportional state sales. Now if we go to the product category, we're going to select that. Then we start to see that this will help us to distinguish the amount sold in each category for each proportional state sales. We have a legend that appears, and the legend is named after the layer, and a stacked column is used by default. We could change the layer name if we liked, call it category here. We do that by clicking on the icon at the side, and we're going to call it category layer, just so it's absolutely clear what we're looking at. So we're going to change the visualization type, and we're going to change it to bubble. So we're going to locate the state of Texas in the home ribbon. So to do that, we go to the home ribbon here, we do find location. Now I'm obviously Scottish, I've got no idea where the state of Texas is, so we're going to look for the state of Texas on here. So I'm trusting that that is the correct location for Texas, or we could try TX and see if that comes up with the same thing. So once we've done that, we can close that window and we will be on Texas. We just want to remove that at the moment. There we go. That's a bit better. We can see the information better. So what we can do is use the zoom button to zoom in more if we want. Then when we zoom in, we can see information about each of the product categories. So we've got our bubble here. Click category again, then we can start to visualize the data a little bit, and we can see what proportion belongs to each category. We can also change the theme if that doesn't suit us, so to do that we can go to themes and then we can select the second theme. And then to make it a bit more readable, what we can do is label as well. If we want to make that more clear, what we can do is change some of the layer options. So we can click on the settings here, go to layer options, and then can click over the pencil icon, and that will rename it. That will look a bit better. So then we'll keep that as category layer. That looks just fine. We can add a second scene. In order to do that, we can go to the home ribbon again and add a scene there. A new scene is currently a clone of the currently selected scene. Now let's make sure we've selected our new scene just here. What we can do now is use the Find Location feature to focus on the state of Washington. And now we can see that both scenes show different things. The scene number 1 shows Texas and the second scene shows Washington. So let's edit that layer so it's more clear, and the layer, we'll close this. So what we can do is change some of the options. So we can edit the layer for this one. By going to Layer Manager, or we could go to the field list and choose different ones if we wanted. So for example, we could go to date and select the date option, and then we can see we can see that the date starts to appear just here. So when we go down the bottom, we see time down here, and we can select the month option. And that means that the time will change and it will reflect the data for a month up to a particular time. So if we go to this map, we can right click the largest segment of the bubble, which should be bikes, and we can right click in that and we could add an annotation. So we can add in custom, and the title is going to be State Washington. What we're going to do then is select fields, which fields we're going to show, and we're going to show sales and category. Once we've done that, we can click OK. The configuration is complete. Now if we go to the home ribbon, we can play the tour. Now we can see it change over time. Then it heads over to Washington, and that's where it ends. So when the tour is completed playing, we hit on the escape button. The tour can be produced as a video. It's something they could do as an exercise elsewhere. The video is produced as an MP4 file, and this can be embedded into a variety of experiences such as web pages, PowerPoint presentations, and you could have fun doing that. So the next step that we need to do is to save the workbook. You can close that. And that ends our introduction to PowerMap.